welcome back to Two Homers and a Realist. Guys, this is a celebratory pod. Sooners beat Auburn 27-21. Awesome game, awesome finish. Stealing victory from the jaws of defeat. It was incredible. I'm Steve.
Jay.
Lucas.
Connor.
Guys, this was just phenomenal. Unexpected, started slow, a lot of doubts, a lot of concerns, still have those. Yeah, exactly. I remember somebody texted, "We're done."
It's there's no proof of that.
Yeah, there is actually lots of
Digital
proof of
footprints.
that. But I think everybody felt like there was a chance it was done. It just didn't look like we were going to be able to pull it out, but we did.
It felt done. I mean, it was going into that fourth quarter. I was pouring a drink inside and just being like, man, the post game's gonna suck today. Like, really gonna have to break down everything that we've been breaking down for the past 3 weeks. The same stuff, a different day. Which some of that still holds true, but we're on a much more positive side.
It is. I'll tell you what I relate it to. I think we can all relate to this. So it's like when you reach into a package and your hand goes all the way to the bottom and there isn't any more in there. And then you look in the pantry and you realize there's an entire box, unopened box of Little Debbie's sitting there waiting for you. And you open those up and it's like a turning point. It's like my whole day was going to be bad. Now it's going to be good. So thanks to our sponsor, Little Debbie. They supply us with all the good stuff to get us through tough times and good times. For celebrations, this is a celebratory Little Debbie experience. We really appreciate their support. I'm going to be having some celebratory oatmeal cream pies later. I hope we all are. So I don't know. It's funny. We look back at the Tennessee game, and at that point we had obviously a really bad experience as it ends. And I had said, I think I said it on the midweek pod, if just a few things go different, we've got an opportunity. You with us, Jay? We have an opportunity to win that ball game, and the narrative is completely different. Today, the narrative's really bad, really negative, and then we win the game, and all of a sudden we're all giddy and happy. So maybe we ought to be careful and not get ahead of ourselves, because there's still concerns and worries. But there's a big difference. I think a famous coach once said, between winning and losing, and this felt like it today. I've been critical of that in the past, but there's a big difference between winning and losing, and we definitely stole a victory and earned a victory at the same time. I don't think anything landed in our lap. We had to go out and we had to earn it in the right critical moments. And I want to talk about all that. I want to laud the offense. We've been really negative on the offense. Everybody has. There were negatives in this game, but they seem to have turned the corner today. True freshman Michael Hawkins comes on. That's a challenging role, period. It's really challenging on the road. So to be able to keep your composure and execute down the stretch.
No turnovers,
and really nothing close to a turnover. He threw the ball 15 times, I believe. So I think they started with a very conservative game plan. We're going to ease into it and see what happens. But to tell you the truth, with the run up the middle for the touchdown, that was impressive. It was definitely a Jalen Hurts-like one look and then he's gone. Then you have a pass across the middle that is, how far did that pass go for?
Almost 50.
Yeah, and of course it's called back on a bad block. Bad block probably wasn't relevant to the catch and run, but regardless, it was well executed. But then as time went on, we're down. We're down for almost the entire game. Going into the fourth quarter, like with a minute into the fourth quarter, we're down 21-10. And
it looked bad. The way we were moving the ball, it looked bad. I mean,
I would say the way they were moving the ball looked bad.
The way they were moving the ball, I guess we had moved the ball.
I think we moved the ball really well.
For the field goal, we had moved the ball. We just floundered it at in the red zone.
No, I think we moved the ball in the second half.
I think my concern, though, was we haven't been doing this consistent all year. What gives me any confidence that we're going to go and do it again to gain 11 points on them? There's not been a consistency in getting the ball down the field, regardless of where we're at. So with that being said, it's kind of like the feeling we had against Tennessee. We didn't have any confidence we're going to come back from the deficit we faced. We obviously didn't. But today, I don't know. You kind of look at it completely differently. I think the second half adjustments, Lucas, you mentioned it in the postgame video. second half adjustments were worthy of note today. I mean, I think they weren't perfect, but they got the job done.
I mean, we still had less than 300 yards, and the prop bet of the week was 299 over under, and we all went over, and we barely missed it because we ended up with 291. But the deep ball to Hester was a huge play, and outside of that, though, was the offense great. I mean, Hawkins' run was incredible, and then we kept shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties. We have a good completion, gets called back. We had the touchdown on the dump over to Barnes, call back on what was that? A
Illegal
block,
motion,
illegal motion.
because he started to move forward on the, before the
Brennan
snap.
Thompson, I think.
No,
No,
Sharp came in motion,
Oh, yeah,
and he
Sharp.
moved forward
Yeah, before the snap.
while in motion before.
And it
the
didn't
snap.
affect the play in the slightest, but it's still illegal. And then we had a holding on a good run. It was Barnes
It
took
was
one
a
for
terrible
like 10
call.
yards.
Sawchuk had like a 14-yard run. It was a terrible hold.
It seemed like we got shot. We shot ourselves in the foot quite a few times on offense. That could have come back to haunt us. But the clutch kicking of Zach Schmidt really kind of helped us win this game, honestly, because if he misses that second field goal, it's the difference in Auburn having to go down and just kick a field goal to tie and completely changes their game plan with 54 seconds left.
Well, and you look at the other side of that. Look how not clutch Auburn's kicker was today.
yeah.
So I mean, going into halftime, they get a gift. They miss a field goal. OU gets called for a penalty. They get a second chance.
Well, let's talk about that penalty. Go ahead and finish that thought, and let's talk about that penalty.
Yeah, we talk about the penalty as well, but they get a chance to go untimed down, essentially kick the field goal again. He does the same thing. So, and then he misses another one in the second half, right? I
Yes.
believe.
Yes.
Yep.
So the
55 or
51 yard.
51 yarder, yeah, dead center, but he pulls it left, I think. So the penalty, though, interesting enough. Steve, I'll let you cover it, but I
So,
think we're all
Very frustrated by it. Not knowing what the rule is exactly, but generally speaking, if the offense substitutes, the defense has a chance to substitute and they hold the ball. Clock is running. So did they have timeouts?
No.
left? They didn't have any timeouts left.
there was
No,
like
and
14 seconds left.
And they mismanaged that on Auburn's part.
Yeah.
I'm sure
They got
their
tackled
podcast is
inbounds
talking about that
and had to
right now.
rush the kicking team on.
So they rush them on, and then we're exchanging players trying to get into position.
we're exchanging an entire unit.
You're right.
Like, I mean, probably eight players at
right.
least.
From the
And so
defense,
we don't have time to do that. So the question is, does the defense not get a
Yeah,
chance?
what's
to
a
sub?
quote unquote reasonable amount of time?
I
Like
think-
they do in every
I
offensive
think
play.
there's some sort of a
a different
rule
rule for kicking.
for kicking that you are supposed to be ready for that moment as a defensive unit.
And they
That's-
don't hold the ball.
That's
Well,
way too subjective.
That is subjective. I don't like the rule, but it's also bad coaching on our part if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because then we need to know with the clock, don't sub. Just run with the unit you got.
But yeah, I mean,
It's not like you got a specialty unit to.
yeah, the starting
to watch-
defense could line up for a 50-yard field goal. I mean, there's nothing to line up for.
or for any field goal.
I'm just saying, there's
wasn't
just-
that
I don't know
far,
when
yeah.
you got David Stone jumping over dudes. Maybe you do have a special
Well,
move for
but
that.
in
well,
that
maybe you do,
moment-
but you don't in that moment.
Yeah.
If that's the rule.
Yeah.
You run with the unit you can
Yeah, you
get
just
on the
keep your
field.
11 on there. and
But we
just-
have 12 on the field. They get to move up and they still miss it, which was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Bad officiating. I guess we can transition to that for a moment.
It's gonna take a bit.
It will. This crew, I guess, got suspended 3 years ago for bad calls in an Auburn game, and here we see we saw a lot of holding penalties that were on the Auburn offense that were not called.
Blatant misses.
Some blatant misses. We saw
The face
ticky-tacky
mask. The
ones.
face mask.
The face mask by the running back or
running back. Yeah, running back. yes.
grab the face mask of the
Yeah,
student.
offensive face mask.
We saw numerous times where the spot of the ball was wrong. One critical one where Barnes, I think, clearly gets the first down. They don't even go to review the
His
spot.
shins are past the
Yeah.
first down mark.
And the ball's well past that, obviously. It's second and inches, and then we had a great run, and then we get called back on a bad block, and then we have another really good. No, then I guess we jump off sides on the next one.
Yeah, they were like we ended up getting backed up to 2nd and 16.
It just killed that drive.
and
Another really good
Schmidt comes
drive.
in, thankfully.
Yeah,
with a
and
field
nailed
goal.
it.
Yeah.
So despite the officiating, I'm going to tell you, people were on the Twitter feed, on the text change, calling for Seth Luttrell's head. I'm going to continue to say the jury's still out on this.
Lucas, you have it pulled up how many penalties we had, yards
Yes.
wise?
It
We
was
had
like-
10 for 78.
How many did Auburn have?
Auburn had 7 for 61.
7 for 61. So
well, but I mean, that's not the measure of it.
it's not the
measure.
measure.
Is
of it.
watching the
It's
context of the game they go
measuring
through.
actually what happened in the game.
The jury is still definitely out on something.
It has to be. I mean, you look at the second half. The full game plan with the true freshman, the second half adjustments. We moved the ball up and down the field with not ease, but with production throughout the second half, and came through when we had to. When we had to run clock, we did. We snapped the ball late on the play clock, which is what you want.
Except on the one play that we messed it up and should have played it out a little bit longer. That one that I think it was on that same drive where Barnes jumps off sides. It was like the snap that we're supposed to receive and hand off to Brennan Thompson,
Right.
and Barnes jumps because the center doesn't snap it. It's just a mistimed.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
weird.
everything was
Mistimed
missed
snap,
time about it.
so-
And thankfully he did jump because it would have been blown up
Yeah.
with where that ball came relative to where Brendan Thompson is. So we weren't
But
flawless.
it was better in clock management.
But
we'll say that.
everything looked a little bit better. I think the game plan was played pretty well. We'll see. A lot remains to be seen. I tell you what, I have real questions about in terms of coaching is things that we're seeing out of a lot of different players, but it really seems to be concentrated in the tight end position of just what are they doing?
the most ignorant position group in the on
They
the team.
can't block. They jump off sides. They're in the wrong
They
position.
get a holding penalty.
They get a holding penalty. They get
the
a blocking downfield. Weird.
block in the back.
What are you
that
doing?
Was a terrible call.
Well, that was a bad call.
I'm pretty sure that was Cade McIntyre's first play he's played all season.
I thought that was Robertson got that.
No, well, Cade
I thought it was
McIntyre got
Roberts,
some
yeah.
I thought the
penalty.
block in the back was headline.
He got one too.
He got
but I
one
don't
as
know if
well.
it was a
I think
block.
there
Was
was
it a block in the back.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless,
But the coaching to me, when you look at the tight end group in particular,
I'm pretty sure our co-offensive coordinator is a tight end coach.
yeah, I think so. What is he doing?
So we're definitely relying too much on our tight ends in the game plan. There can't be any question about
But
it.
how's it translate? Like, where's the translation to what they're actually supposed to be doing that they're being included in the game plan? Like, I know they're supposed to be blocking and doing all that stuff. Why do we continue to include them in the game plan if they are exponentially failing in everything?
I
they're
don't know if
supposed to be
it's
doing?
a lack of depth from our receiver position.
Maybe
So we've
That's
got
part
to
of it.
rely on something
adding
else.
some extra.
And we don't have a fullback.
Right.
So you
But
actually have to, a lot of times you have to
You
have
could
two tight
formally
ends.
add that though. You could formally incorporate that into a game plan.
You could
pretty
convert
easily.
one of them because we had years and years with an H-back that was essentially a fullback. And you could just turn one of those tight ends into an H-back / fullback.
There's a lot of guys you could run as a fullback. You could run Kanik as a fullback. You
Kanik
could
should
run.
be a
You
fullback.
could run Franklin as a
Did
fullback.
Kanik see the field much today? I don't
Kanik
remember seeing
wasn't
him
on
out
there.
there.
I don't think he got on the
Kanik
I
field,
don't
wasn't
think he
on the
did.
field.
I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing him.
which is
So-
why he needs to move.
Two
A
fullbacks.
fullback
So there's not like a rule and
or
height
slot
thing.
receiver. Make him block.
Yeah, there's not a height and a weight requirement to be a fullback.
It's like we talked
You can
about the
make
midweek.
Schmidt a fullback.
It's like we talked
Just
about
add the
midweek.
position.
Just be
No, he'll
creative.
face mask.
No one is going to be frustrated with creativity or
Right.
like innovation. And it's like, oh, Kanik's a linebacker. We'd never do that. That's what I feel like the mindset is.
It is.
Why not? The guy wants to play football. Go let him play football.
Where was the converted
Jacoby Johnson?
Jacoby Johnson?
Was not
I
on the
don't
field
think he
at all
had a
today.
single play.
He was on special teams.
No, oh, he did.
He was
Okay.
he was the one who forced one of the Auburn guys out of bounds on
Okay,
a punt.
offensively, he was on.
I would give them
No.
a pass in regards to if he is, that's a work in process, and this was the first week, and we're bringing him on. But
Let us
now
see
we
in
need to see
Texas.
him on the
I'll call it
field.
now.
And,
He's our leading receiver.
and where you're calling it now?
That's a
Calling
bold
it now. I
statement.
like it. That's a big group who's going to get a lot of yards.
I'll
We'll
take that.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So I could see that. I could see him having a leading role, or at least being in the rotation very strongly as soon as Texas, especially with the bye week. But even giving him a pass on where is he today, and maybe he's not ready. The question remains, why can you not find some productivity out of the receiving corps as they are, and you're relying on tight ends, you're going with 2 tight end sets? That's confusing to me. And maybe that's to make up for, this is funny, some offensive line play, but you're bringing in guys who can't block. So that can't be it, right? I mean, the offensive line, as good and bad as they are, they're blocking better than these tight ends
Now,
are.
we haven't gone back and obviously rewatched the game and broken it down further, but there are plays with receivers open.
Right.
And Hawkins did miss players that were open for
Oh, yeah.
one reason or another,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's the offensive
No, he
line
was not
breaking
perfect.
down or him being a freshman.
He
quarterback.
stepped up in the
He
pocket
stepped in the
early.
pocket a little too much.
But there are plays still there to be had, easy plays. And we've just, regardless of who it's at quarterback, they're both young and they both just aren't seeing the entire field yet.
So if you're Auburn and you go back and you look at this game, let me just read a couple of things off to you guys.
I mean, they
If you
outgained
go
us by
back-
200 yards.
If you go back and you look, yeah, that, but you go back, we had 10 receptions on the day. 10.
Four
So
receivers.
4 receivers.
Well, 3 receivers and a tight end.
3 receivers and a tight end. 10 receptions total. We had 2 running backs touch the ball.
No, 1 running back and 1 quarterback.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. We
We
had a running back,
Out-
1 quarterback.
the
because
Sawchuk one
Sawchuk's
didn't
didn't
count.
count. 'Cause
Yeah.
Sawchuk-
So literally,
right.
we had 14 carries for Hawkins. They count sacks in that too.
18 for Barnes.
And 18 for Barnes. That was literally the only 2 guys that rushed the ball today.
And you go back and you look and you lost that game, that's insane. I would be beside myself. I'm beside myself as a fan who won the game. I'm not saying like I know we're talking about. I do think the game plan was better in the second half. We got the ball. We spread the ball out a little bit more. It's not sustainable if we're getting the ball in 4 wide receivers' hands.
No,
or-
that's the
or-
whole thing. It's not sustainable.
It's not
Like
sustainable.
we won
There's
today.
no way.
It's just not going forward. There has to be better than
It's got to be more.
No, I
depth.
agree. But I think this is the progress we can build on.
Yeah.
I saw things today that we can actually build on. I didn't see things we could build on in the first half last week. I did see some things in the second half, but it's hard to say when you're in a scattered situation what's going on. I saw things particularly in the second half of this game that you could build on. Now you have to build on them to get there. One of the things that I saw that was a little bit frustrating, or I guess it's to be expected, is the defense wasn't enough today until they get the interception for a touchdown. But the defense was giving up a lot of yards today. They were giving up points in tough situations.
Got very conservative.
And I think unexpectedly, you look at a game and say, if we're going to hold them to 21 points, we expect to win. But in all honesty, we didn't think there was a great chance they'd score 21 points. We thought that was the high end, and they actually left some points on the field. So the defense left a little to be desired today. And what's amazing is we still won in a game where the defense didn't come through and shine and was as stellar as they've been throughout most of what we've seen so far this season.
You know who's not coming through on the defense? Woody
I gotta
Washington.
guess. Yeah.
Woody Washington continues to get beat over and over. And I don't understand why he's on the field other than his
And he
experience.
He wasn't deep into the game, right?
I don't remember
I
seeing
didn't
out.
see him much in the second half.
I didn't see him
Yeah,
in the
Eli
second
Bowen
half
was in there.
either.
Eli Bowen was in there.
Did he come back
Des
after he got
Malone looks good most of the
Kenai
time. He
Walker's
gave
a
up a couple.
liability too. And if the way
Depends on the speed of if it's a really fast receiver, he's liability.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, he's
the way
in
we're
good
playing
shape.
defense, where we're not giving 2 safeties over the top of our corners, it's a liability.
Well, Billy's looked really bad too, though. Like Billy took the one play where they break out for a touchdown over the top. Billy takes the flat when he shouldn't have taken the flat. I think we had 2 guys over there taking the flat
We
already.
did, but he did have we had 2 unders.
And he was.
Again,
I think
I don't know if he's supposed to be the over or not.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't the over.
I think
He
the
was
one
just the
Kenai
No,
under.
I meant of the guy in the flat.
The one
He
Kenai
was the
Walker
over
got
in
beat
the
on.
flat.
He
That's
had to
what I'm
cover the
talking
under.
about.
I think
That's
he
what
had to
I'm
cover
talking
the
about. Cover
tight
the
end
I think so too. He
Yeah.
made it. It looked decisive.
because I don't think he got beat on like a play action.
But-
he had to come up to cover and it went over. The
I don't
top
know. It
of him.
doesn't
But
look like
Kenai-
he's in the right place.
But Kenai
I agree.
Walker,
I agree.
Kenai Walker, to put on an island.
Kenai got hosed.
But I mean, but there's not very many DBs you can put on an island all game long and not give up a play.
Right.
Right.
So I'm not really harping on him per se, but
Woody
If
gets
we're
beat
not-
across the middle. Woody gets beat
Yes,
on
Woody
any.
just-
It's
It's
side to
consistent.
side.
If you want to beat Woody, just go on a long drag route across the middle,
Yeah.
and he will get lost.
The only thing he doesn't get beat on is like a play behind the line of scrimmage where he can run and blow up a block and find a way into the backfield.
And maybe that's
about
the
it.
key. Switch and have a 2 deep safety that covers his guy, and he blitzes off of the end.
Yeah.
and I think this is fun. This is fundamentally
It is.
a conference issue. Woody Washington absolutely has been a fantastic defender for us in the Big 12.
in the Big 12.
And currently, the last 2 games moving into SEC, he is a liability.
He's looked bad all year, though. Truly. He looked bad against Tulane. He was the one DB that was getting beat consistently against Tulane. There wasn't like a lot of big plays, obviously, that you can go back and count like we did today and against Tennessee. But to your point, like the guy is 2 or 3 steps behind everybody. All
There's
the
a
time.
reason he's still here on his 5th year. He's
Right.
not good enough for the league.
Well, exactly. But I don't know. I tweeted it out during the game. I don't know what dirt he has on the coaching staff. Quit putting him on the field. You're not going to tell me that Peyton Bowen can't go fill the void.
Well, I think he's not going to mess up, right?
I know he's not going to mess up, but
Coaches
if
love-
he's slower,
But coaches love
screw that. That's a mistake in coaching, man.
I agree.
I can
that's
go.
a mistake.
It's the Justin Broyles effect.
Yeah.
Justin Broyles is going to work his ass off every single play and try his hardest and be in the right spot. He's too slow.
Yeah, the coaches lauded him for being so professional at his job, and he was in the right place most of the time, and he knew how to guys get set up. But literally, he got beat all the time, and we complained about him constantly.
Right.
Here's the truth. Gentry Williams being out, Woody wouldn't be on the field. So we're doing a little bit of what we have to do. Some.
I guess so. And you
It
got to
just
have
scares me if we
rotation,
don't have anybody better than him.
especially to start a game. It's interesting. He starts and then doesn't finish. It appears we have to look at the real snap count to know definitively.
Well, that's a
But that's 2
conservatism,
weeks in a row. Yeah.
right? That's a safe play.
Right.
He's
It's not safe when he's getting beat over and over.
Yeah. If you're already
Over
down.
and
okay.
over and over.
Okay. I'm not trying to defend him
No,
or
I know you're
justify
not.
anything,
I get it.
but there's a lot of plays we don't see that he did cover well, and they just didn't throw it
Didn't
that
throw
way.
his
That's
direction.
right. We
You
have to look.
only notice
Yeah.
corners when they're getting beat on something,
True.
right?
True.
So
Good point.
he might do really well 90% of the time. I don't know what his actual grade comes to when
I'm
they
gonna
go
say
back
it's
and look at
70.
film, but it's, I don't know.
Well, it's something that is obviously we're really good at defense, great at defense. We're not where we need to be completely. We're seeing the effect of injuries there, just like we're seeing the effect of injuries in other spots. We are overcoming them. So I think the defense played really well today in a tough environment against a good offense and against a good offensive brain. But what I think is really, there's 2 sides to this. One, I'm very happy that we won the game without relying on turnovers, aside from one key critical turnover. We didn't get 5 that landed in our lap. I am a little concerned that a team that was very prone to turn the ball over, we didn't seem to be pushing them into situations where they were going to turn the ball over. Our pressure on the quarterback was weak. We didn't seem to be getting the penetration we needed. We were not stopping the run the way you'd want to stop the run. So there's definitely a lot to work on in terms of defense from what we see coming out of this game.
And Auburn did lead the SEC coming into this game in rushing yards per attempt.
They-
For what it's
And
worth.
big
For what
plays.
it's worth.
They showed the first half. The running back only had 29 yards rushing. I think, in
Yeah,
the first
and I
half.
think they were coming in
But
this
then
game.
he
They're
went off in the
averaging
second half.
they're
He had
averaging
70.
6.8 yards per carry, I think.
Yeah, and it showed more in the second
But I'll
half.
tell you what's interesting, because we've seen it a couple times now in the fourth quarter, as our Mason Thomas gets in there when the game is on the line, and he's getting a
Takes over.
ton of rush.
He takes over.
It's
I
incredible.
mean, he had
Not just a ton of rush. It's almost like his superpower is hold the guy.
Yeah.
If you hold him, he's going to maybe create a turnover.
yeah. I mean, and what was it?
And none of those were called.
Tulane game, he has 3 sacks,
The
and
last
strip
3
sacks,
drives.
Right.
and
Last
then
3 drives.
this
And
game-
those weren't called for holding.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't called for holding, and he
he
gets
still
the
makes
sack
the
out
play.
Yeah,
of
he
it.
gets the sack to finish the game, and essentially, and I
Well,
mean, he's
also-
getting held the whole time.
So when Auburn had the ball with a minute to go, right? That's the first time I even recall seeing PJ on the field.
I agree. I said the same
I
thing
think
during
there
the
was
game.
there was a 3rd and like 11 that I think he got out there.
So he's
to rush the
strictly
quarterback.
let's get this freak athlete on the field for
Go after the
a
quarterback.
specific rush down.
But that's what I was saying during the game is why are we not running the NASCAR package at least some? Like
And there were several 3rd and longs.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the 3rd and 9.
I didn't feel like
The
there was
third and
Maybe
9.
like-
Auburn had a bunch of 3rd
like-
and long.
4 maybe.
No, the 3rd
No,
and
they
9.
had a
But
bunch.
the
And there
perfect
was some they
example.
handed the freaking ball off and got.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking
3rd and
about.
9, we had 5 guys in the box, and they halfback draw it right up the Right.
put the
Pepper,
NASCAR
11, 12
package in there and
yards.
freaking zero blitz their ass and make them pay for it. Like, I don't know. It's almost like hey, Brent thinks our offense can't score. Let's draw back on the defense, make sure we're not giving anything up big.
Bend
But
don't
then
break.
we're giving up the simple plays that we've seen work over and over and
Auburn
over again.
converted a lot of third and longs. I don't know what the number is.
I mean,
Can't
they
bring
went,
them
their
up.
third down was 4 of 14,
Well,
and their fourth down was 2 of 4.
they were long third downs.
They went for a fourth
they only
down
got
on
4.
fourth down.
I don't care. They were long.
So they
third
didn't get a lot of them if they only converted
a lot.
4.
Well, it's a lot if they're
Third downs.
4 long ones. It'd be a little if it were
I mean,
all
one
short.
It
specifically-
wasn't third and ones.
One specifically was that 3rd and 9 run that we just talked about.
Where we wanted to kill
So
ourselves.
they had plenty of third.
Because
and
that turned
threes.
into a touchdown.
Yeah, that one hurt.
That one sucked.
So I don't know. It's funny, and I'm glad we can be pretty critical in a victory that we were celebrating so vividly. I mean, we were giddy. We were just besides
Oh, it's
ourselves.
the happiest I've ever seen Lucas in a game ever.
That's something.
And I mean that.
that
Like,
is-
it was crazy.
It was happy.
He's
It's all
smiling right
around.
now.
The screaming, the cheering, we could hear it. We're in the backyard. We could hear it from other backyards. We could tell that they were a little behind us on the broadcast because they were screaming later than we were. We had a Boomer Sooner cheer going between backyards from blocks away. So it was a fun, exciting time, but I'm glad we can be critical of it and realize there's still a long way to go. We're not there yet. Anybody that wants to think, oh, it's all solved, and I don't think Sooner fans are going to be like that. I mean, I'll be honest, I think we're pretty educated football fans, high football IQ or whatever you want to say. We know that we're still playing a true freshman at quarterback. We know that we've got 2 weeks to get ready for Texas, which is great.
Perfect
But
time
that's
for a bye
huge,
week.
huge challenge. So if you guys have a second, let's transition into, if you're ready, we'll transition and talk about a little bit of what's to come and relate it to this game. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Tobacco Exchange. Thank you to Tobacco Exchange, 3 great locations throughout the metro area, Moore, Edmond, and Oklahoma City. They supplied us with cigars again tonight. Lucas, what are we smoking?
So now we have a Oliva G series, I believe. It's a box press. It's pretty tasty.
I like the box press.
They've got a special going on until September 30th, which is only a couple days from now.
Get out there fast, guys.
You buy a box, you get an 8 cigar sampler and a leather case. Go visit Joey, Clint, Carl over at the Moore store. They'd love to see you. Tell them you heard about them on the pod,
Yeah.
and they'll hook you up.
Yeah, they're great out there, and it really is a good special. It's always good specials there, and even the regular pricing is great. Best pricing in the metro for sure. So thanks to them. Well, guys, we got a bye week, which hopefully we can make the most of. We can get a little healthy. Any ideas on who can get healthy?
I mean,
For this game?
receiver wise, Burks is the only guy that's got a chance of coming back.
Right. Well, yeah. At this point,
Because
Farouk is
Farouk
not
is-
going to be ready
He's
yet.
close, but
Farouk's
he won't
out,
be ready.
Gibson's done. It sounds like Anderson's done for the season, if I had to
Anthony's
guess,
done.
from what I've heard. Anthony's
done.
Sounds like he's done for
He's
the
done.
season.
Yeah, from what we know, Anthony Anderson are done,
so-
but Farouk probably won't be back for this
No, it's not
game.
close enough for him, but you may get Burks back, hopefully.
If you're
Uh,
Farouk at this point, you're probably saying med.
Offensive line, did you notice Everett out there today?
No.
I didn't notice him. We
He was
didn't look at
supposed to
snap
play.
count, but
Is
I
he
didn't-
redshirting?
He didn't start.
I mean, it's
I didn't notice him out
you've
there.
got to ask that question now with all this weird stuff going on with the UNLV players and everything else in the 4 games. Like,
I mean, we ended up with 130 rushing yards, but 48 of that was on the
one run.
run from
Mhm.
Michael Hawkins. So
Did we look better
it's an
today
okay
at
rushing.
offensive line?
Let's see, we had
You know, I think we did with still problems.
4.1
Yeah.
yards per carry. That's serviceable.
It
I
is.
mean, if you run it on first, second down, and you're getting 4 yards a carry,
about-
that leaves you 30.
3 yards better than what we averaged last week.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So I would say that
I think the biggest advantage of this bye week isn't the getting healthy, but it's getting Michael Hawkins first team reps again,
Comfortable.
because
Yeah.
he just had this week with first
Right.
team reps. You're going to be able to probably install a little bit more of the playbook.
that's where I think
Not like you've been holding a lot back with these games.
no, but
Yeah.
you're now putting
But
things
now
in.
you've seen what he can do in live game action. So now Latrell can get with him and see what he's the most comfortable running.
Right.
And so you can add maybe an extra dimension of, oh, he really likes to bootleg to the right or roll out. He really likes the deep post over
Mhm.
a corner route or whatever.
Right.
And then once he gets more comfortable now that he's seen it and Latrell has seen what we're more capable of, it turns out that this week comes at a really good time.
Yeah, I think it comes at a perfect time. I don't know if there could be a better time than right now with what we need and where we are in the season is huge. But with a true freshman, if you said put a bye week in there to help the guy out, this is the right time to do it. Some of the things you might see, not so much, well, there's a degree of holding it back, but there's also a degree of implementation. So they've been looking at Texas throughout a lot of the preseason and intermittently in the early games here. So I would imagine there's some things they think they can do if they have the personnel who can execute them against Texas. This is your opportunity to put those plays in place, and you have 2 weeks to practice them. And it may just be as little as a formation and a scheme in terms of who's on the field, maybe not 2 tight ends. And let's show Texas something they haven't seen already. And if you're smart, if you're Latrell and you're smart, you say, well, what can we do with a running mobile quarterback that they wouldn't have prepared for that could give them problems? How can we give them problems with the fact that Michael Hawkins can really hurt you with his feet?
How do you guys feel going into the Texas game comparatively to how you felt going into the Tennessee game last week? Better, worse, same, more nervous?
It's hard to remember.
And it's different. It's very different. I mean, you're dealing with completely different circumstances.
I would say,
maybe I'll ask it in this way. What is your confidence going into the Texas game
right,
relative to what it was going into the Tennessee game?
I would say my confidence is lower than going into the Tennessee game, but it got renewed hope today that largely offset how bad it felt. And I did have some hope going into today that got dashed really in that first half. And I started to really get scared about, wow, what is this going to look like against Texas?
Yeah.
But then I got more and more confidence. And I wouldn't say I'm back to where I was pre-Tennessee. And that's a little bit of me being a true believer, having faith in what's going to happen. And it took the Tennessee game, obviously, for all of us, coaches included, to decide Jackson Arnold wasn't going to be it. And so it's sort of a change of the entire season at that point when Michael Hawkins comes in with 2 minutes to play in the Tennessee first half. So it's hard to say, but I think that I'm not there. Where are you?
I have a little bit of renewed hope. I don't know. I think it's a different look. And after what Texas did today, it's a very similar feeling. Like I know Texas is a good team. I don't think they're the number 1 team by any means, to be honest with you guys.
Alabama might be.
I think Alabama might be as we watch them right now. I think it's gonna be a pretty prototypical OU Texas. I think the big thing for us in the OU Texas game is not to do what we did in the first half today. And I think you stay uber aggressive on defense. Like we were pretty aggressive the first 2 drives of the game today on defense, and then kind of tapered off a little bit up until like the mid-3rd quarter. I think last year we came out really aggressive on the defensive side of the ball last year. So I think if you do that, I don't know. It feels really similar actually. So I'm not like scared of Texas by any means.
No,
I'll give you 2 takes.
Oklahoma only fears God. I saw that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Here's 2 things. I don't think you can watch our offense and feel confident going to Texas game, even with 2 weeks to prepare. Now,
what does confidence mean, though, is a big question, right?
I don't know. It's
just the ability
it's
to
just
move the
not
ball.
there. We just don't have the guys. We really don't. I know everyone tries to say next man up or you've got good players behind them. Nobody. I can't recall the last time anybody had 5 starting wide receivers. And to say that it doesn't matter is you're full of crap.
No one would say that.
So the only thing I would give hope for is what has happened up to this point doesn't matter in the Texas game. One of the best defensive games we've ever played comes in the Texas game sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's an out there too. Manning got the start tonight for Texas. So a second game in a row.
Right.
This puts Quinn Ewers with an entire month, 4 weeks of not playing game speed
Right.
offense
Right.
when he comes to that game. And he will, without a doubt, be the starter for that game.
Right. And
But-
that means he's going to get the reps in practice all the way through these 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, but game speed
Which no, yeah,
is
I'm with you.
Game speed's different than practice speed.
Right.
And OU Texas game speed is different than regular.
Well, what I'm getting at is if he is disappointing, if he gets re-injured, if he's disappointing and they have to put him on the sidelines and put Manning in there, then you're putting the guy who probably only got 30% of the snaps in practice for 2 weeks. So it's lose-lose
I don't even know if they would do
from that
that.
situation.
My
Well, if he
hope-
got injured, you would.
okay, injured.
But here's what my hope is that, yeah, you're talking about Russ coming back and not being at game speed, but also he's seen what Arch can do. He hears all the students,
Yeah,
all the
press.
hubbub. He's gonna be pressed. He's gonna try to come out and sling it all over the place and maybe throw passes that he shouldn't because he wants to make a statement. Because this is the game. You know, he lost it
Right.
last year.
Right.
This is the game that he really needs to show that he's the quarterback and not Arch. So maybe he tries to fit a ball in that he shouldn't, or gives up some tip balls, or maybe he's got PTSD for how it went last year.
Right.
How many times have we seen the replay of that goal line stand? I mean, he's probably seen it 15, 20 times and heard about it.
In his
you guys couldn't
nightmares.
score from the 2-yard line. What are y'all doing? So he's going to go in there and maybe try to do too much.
Yeah.
He was actually really efficient in that game, which is ironic.
Yeah.
So
He was. So,
Until crunch time.
yeah.
he don't matter.
So I think back to the question of confidence, though. Where are you guys in terms of where you are with this team today versus where you were going into the Tennessee game?
I feel the same way going into this game. I think going into the Texas game that the offense is still improving. I'm hoping that the extra week of practice really gets Hawkins lined out, like we talked about with Latrell.
Right.
Maybe they can figure some things out that they hadn't worked on a whole lot, or see what he's more comfortable with. The
Mhm.
defense has got to be better on the deep ball. If it means, I don't know how great Texas running game is right now.
Mhm.
If that means we don't have a safety come up to help with the run and it's all going to be on the front seven, then I feel better having, RSJ and Billy Bowman out in, man two or whatever we end up running. And maybe that stops him from throwing the ball over and we get dinked and dunked some, but I'd rather get dinked and dunked on some of it
Been a long, yes, for
because
sure.
you're running clock. We got killed on time possession again today.
Again,
I looked at it.
it's
It was,
gonna wear on us during the
30,
season.
35, 24. I mean,
It is gonna be a problem long term.
yeah.
We've got to get a handle on that.
Yeah, we have to.
I mean, I don't expect us to go 30-30, but you would like to get it closer to 30,
Well, especially in a close game.
but that involves sustained drive.
Right.
I mean, our third down conversions were 2 of 11. You're not going to beat any team from here on in outside Maine and
Maybe South Carolina.
maybe South Carolina.
Mhm.
But if you can't at least go 40% on third down, you're not going to win this league.
Right.
And it's the same thing though. Like we're putting ourselves in third and longs consistently.
Yeah.
Gotta stop doing that. Like, and again, we go back to the hurry up stuff. Stop running hurry up after you get a first down. Like,
Yeah.
take your time and win the first 2 downs of the
I
drive.
had to go hurry up in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, but I mean, going like
That's
before that.
situational.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly.
in Auburn, to their credit,
Auburn
they
was
also-
milking the clock.
no, but they
extremely well.
also like to move quickly. And they also figured out,
Slow
and
down.
this isn't working for us.
Yeah.
And
We need to slow these
they
games
huddled.
down.
And
They
they got
huddled.
35 minutes out of it.
They took
They got a penalty
every
for it, too.
ounce of every play clock tonight.
They were last in the country, if I read that graphic right, during the game, with like 21 minutes or 22 minutes of time possession this season. And that's against a couple rundowns. I mean, they played New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost to Cal. They lost to who they lose to last week.
No, Cal was last week, wasn't it?
No, Cal
No,
was 2 weeks
Arkansas.
ago.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. I mean, so it's not like they're playing the Bamas and Georgias of the world, and
Right.
getting beat on time possession. They're just not that great of an offense in general,
So-
or their quick strike.
Okay, not to interrupt.
And 482 yards.
No, they're actually a very good offense
Right.
They've just turned the ball over a ton.
Yeah,
Like they
win this game.
they led the SEC in like
total yards.
in
or
like
something.
total yards
They had
and
482
big play yards,
yards.
like plays
Or
over
291.
55 yards. So they were actually a very good offense, and that's why it was working tonight for them, was because
They didn't turn the ball over.
they didn't turn the ball over until they did.
They
Yeah.
still lost.
And
Until the one that mattered on a pick six.
from here going forward, just like all the teams we play, they're better. They're better than we thought they were, and they're gonna have a better season than we think. With them slowing it down,
No, they're not. Their schedule
Yes.
is brutal. Their schedule. They play Georgia and Alabama. I think they're gonna get
They
wrecked.
definitely play Alabama. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they
it
have
could
Georgia
get really
as
rough
well.
for them.
but no, in all serious, they slowed it down today specifically
They did.
to rest their
And it
defense,
worked. They did a good
not
job.
rush their
No,
play
They
calls.
played. They managed the clock well.
They
They've
actually
been a-
managed the game really well.
They've been a turnover machine. They only turned it over once, and it was back-breaking. Obvious.
Yeah, they
I
played.
mean, do you
Georgia
think we
next
win that
week.
game without the pick six?
They played Georgia next
No,
week.
Yes.
I don't think so. You think we win the game
No,
without
we
the
win
pick?
the-
Yeah,
no.
yeah, we don't win the
Absolutely
game
not.
without a pick six.
Absolutely not.
No.
I
I mean,
agree.
unless he gets tackled on the 5 yard line and we somehow punch it in, even though we
Without
didn't.
the
I'll
interception,
I'll realize this all the
it would be
way.
very hard.
I'll admit it on the group text. This game was over. We were done. I'll admit it.
Oh,
I
you said
agree.
there
I
wasn't
agree
evidence
to
of
it.
That was
There is evidence.
early in the game.
It was
you
over.
said that.
No,
It was
it was late third quarter.
It was
after-
over because of our offensive inept ability to do anything
the
creative.
score from the 2 yard
move
line.
the ball.
It was in the third quarter. It may have been after we settled for a field
field
goal
goal when we should have
when we
scored.
could have scored a touchdown. And then you also look at a 2-point conversion that should have been a completion for a great completion. And
No,
that
you know what it was? It was the fourth down play that we ran from like the Auburn like 40 or like
Oh yeah,
45.
fourth and a
Fourth
long.
and 10.
It was 21
It
to
was
10.
it was fourth and 10.
Right when the fourth quarter started, and it was 21
And
to 10.
Hawkins got sacked.
And we went for it on
Which you
fourth.
cannot take as a young quarterback. Just throw the ball.
You know, you can't take any
I don't.
time.
Just throw the ball anywhere. It
That-
doesn't matter.
That's
It's fourth
something
and
you
10.
actually can expect from a young quarterback is that he's going to get sacked there. It's not good, but
It's
an
better to
experienced
throw a
quarterback,
pick
yes,
at the 5 yard line.
throw it up, throw
Yes.
it deep. Yes,
Get it pass
absolutely.
interference call.
No, absolutely.
So Auburn has Georgia next week, Missouri the week after,
At Missouri,
at Missouri, at Georgia, at Kentucky, 3 straight road games.
That should all be losses.
They get
Yeah.
Vandy at home, get Louisiana Monroe, then they get Texas A&M at home, and then they go to Bama. So Auburn season
They may have
four.
easier.
they may have
Four
one more
wins.
victory on that schedule.
Yeah, 2 at most, I would say.
Yeah,
I mean, they should
Vanderbilt.
be Vandy and
Vandy at
Louisiana
home.
Monroe.
And Louisiana.
Yeah, this was no.
A&M's a tough.
Obviously, it was a huge game for us. It was equally a massive game for them.
Oh, it was a
They
huge game for
needed
them.
this.
They had to have this.
Oh, they're
They had
2 and
to.
3.
And you can tell how they managed the game, that how badly they wanted to win the game. I mean, they had 5 turnovers last game. They took care of the ball
Well, if you told them-
extremely well.
If you told them, come from the future, go to the past, tell them, you're gonna only have 1 turnover. You're gonna outgain
You're gonna have
the
500
opponent.
yards.
Yeah, 482 to 291. You're gonna be ahead at halftime. You're gonna lead for X% of the game. Do you think you win? I guarantee you that you're gonna tell me you're gonna score 21 points, and you're gonna be, especially if you tell them you score at least 21 and you'll have 2 field goals.
So their field
In
goals,
addition to that,
they missed 2 field goals, or was it 3?
They missed
2.
3,
3?
2 technically because they got to
2
do
technically,
over.
because they got to do
Right,
one.
right.
but they
Yeah.
missed 3.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
No, not
we
3
were-
that would have counted. 2 that
Right,
counted.
right,
They
2
missed 3
that counted.
Oh, the other one would have counted because they would have taken it.
because they had a
Penalty
preview.
regard.
And the other one wouldn't have kicked, so they missed
You
2.
would have re-kicked.
Yeah.
They missed it.
I mean-
So, in hindsight, our defense played extremely well in the final third of the field. essentially.
Right.
From the 40
Bend, don't
yard
break.
line inwards.
Bend, don't break. Except for the big plays.
Except for the big plays over the top.
2 big plays
And
over
again,
the top.
those plays in the game feel like they're so much more magnified
Right. Than
because
they really
we're
are.
not scoring.
Right.
Then-
No, they do. And
And they are.
you-
They are.
They are and they do, but they shouldn't matter that much because you're talking about holding the team to 21 points. the
Which is
University
huge.
of
I would
Oklahoma,
have killed myself 5 years ago.
we should never
get that.
lose if we're holding our opponent
Right.
to 21 points.
Exactly.
I don't care
Yes,
who we're
I
playing.
had several
matter.
text message chains tonight with multiple people. And this is
Brag.
Imagine that.
yeah, there's a
popular.
lot of people that want to text
Wow,
me.
people come up to him, tears in
Are
their
they
eyes,
just
say, "I wish I could just text as
people
good as
like,
you
can I
do."
touch you,
It's
Jay?
a real thing.
Wow,
Not like
Um,
that, but like
he's,
no,
he's speaking.
At this point, they had 14 points. Now they were like first and goal or something.
Right,
But it was technically 14 points heading into the fourth quarter.
right,
And then 2 plays later, they score for 21.
right.
And every text chain I have is just pissed off at the defense. Just irritated completely the defense. I'm like, guys,
we're so spoiled, dude.
you're killing me. If you told me that for the last 8 years we held a team to 21 points, we have 6 national championships.
Yeah.
I'm like, we had 10 freaking offensive points. In all my texts are bitching about the defense.
Not us, though.
Not you guys. You guys are smart
We're smart.
and good looking.
Well, thank you.
Well, look at the time of possession. Auburn 35 minutes and 26 seconds. OU 24 minutes, 34 seconds. So, I mean, defense is on the field a lot.
Right.
It's
We're asking a lot
it's
of this
inevitable that they're
defense.
going to give up some
We have got,
plays.
so let's get to that because that's an important point, and it's going to come into play definitely against Texas and any of the challenging opponents that we face. We have got to get complementary. We've got to get smart. We've got to get that time of possession to work because if you're looking at a 24-35 with change differential, you better be outscoring that team 21-28 points. Otherwise, there's just no excuse and you're asking too much of your defense. We have got to figure out how to at least manage the clock enough that they're getting rest that they need because 35 minutes sounds like a lot and is a lot. It doesn't have to be as bad as it can be, but it's really bad when you're going in and out as we did in the first
and you're
half.
not scoring points.
And you're not scoring any points.
Right.
3 and out, kicking the ball.
It's not 2017.
Yeah, it's rough. Now we did have a really good punt, so
He punted great,
Azinga,
actually.
Elzinga punted really well.
that was
Yeah,
awesome.
he was belted.
I mean, we get
Those
out,
punts.
we get the ball on the 1 yard line, which we run the same. So criticize Seth, the same shotgun snap, and we get up there, and it just Barnes gets 2
Okay,
3
but
yards.
we did not rely on the tight end to seal the backside defense.
That's true. But you look at that situation, you're like, well, if one
It
guy
still makes no
if
sense.
one guy blitzes through that and outguesses what we're doing, it's a safety. And at that
Again,
point, we're upset.
I'm not as critical. I think 99% of teams run a halfback dive from the one. You
In the
just don't-
shotgun?
Yes. Well, okay. You just don't do it where you have a exotic blocking package.
Right.
It still makes.
Well, regardless,
you still have to get
It's
4
challenging
extra
and
yards.
and difficult that they did that. They did do it. They got out there. They get to the 5 yard line. We end up having to punt, and he nearly flips the field. They get the ball in like the 40 yard, their own 40 yard
he
line
moved.
after that.
Yeah, it was a great.
That
game.
was
great.
great. That was really, really good.
Great hang time.
Schmidt was great. Is he the question from a listener is he the starting kicker now?
I mean, at this point,
What
like,
do you do?
No.
Are you sure?
why?
He kicked in a hostile environment twice.
30
and-
plus yards.
It wasn't like they weren't perfectly down the middle, but they weren't just barely getting over. And in fact, he not only kicked once really, really well, he kicked after running a trick play, which has got to throw off the rhythm. They go up to the line pretending that we're going to go for it on 4th down, and we burn a timeout trying to draw them off sides. That's a lot to tell a kid.
So he kicks a 24-yarder in the third quarter to make it 10-14, and then goes and kicks the 39-yarder with 54 seconds left in the game to make it a 6-point game.
I mean, those are both short field goals by today's standards.
By today's
But he
standards,
made them.
he did make them.
He did.
And in the past,
He didn't miss an extra point that was field goal range.
Schmidt outside of 30 yards on the road, no
Money.
confidence.
I'll tell you.
No
the part.
confidence.
No confidence at all. Yes,
No
exactly.
confidence.
This isn't the field
He
goal
was money
part.
today.
Kickoff part. He does not kick it to the back of the end zone.
No,
He does. They
And
don't. You don't have
they-
to have the same
did
guy
you
kicking.
notice how they panned to him when we didn't kick to the back of the end zone and we ended up getting a penalty on the kickoff? We got
Yeah,
a penalty
he-
on one of the kickoffs.
Yeah, he grabbed a face mask.
Grabbed a face mask.
He had to make the tackle on the sideline and grab the face mask.
Grabs the face mask. They get the ball at the 40 yard
42,
line.
yeah.
So you can't have two different guys. You can have you can have two different guys kicking field goals.
Yeah,
You
short,
can have a long guy and a short guy. If I'm Brent, I think I have to be thinking. We know kickers are legendary for being just kind of
Head
Head-
cases.
I was gonna say different, but yeah, head cases. I think you want to tell them, here's our game plan going into it, guys. When we're in a certain position, Schmidt's going to be our guy. When we're in a different position, you're going to be the guy. We want you to be good and know that that's what we're calling on you to do. I don't know. Rather than what do? You've got to make a commitment of who it's going to be. Maybe it would help them if you said, look, I don't have to be the guy to go out and kick in the OU Texas game, regardless of the down and distance or the, the line of scrimmage and how far the kick is. I've got my teammate to help me. That's got to build some
Yeah, but do the
confidence.
shorter kicks give confidence to the longer kicker? I mean, do you really want to? We're already talking about
I
it
think the
being head
confidence
cases.
is you're
Do you
you're
really want to mess with that?
no, I think your confidence is you've got a narrower field of what you have to do. So it's like telling Michael Hawkins, who's going into his first OU Texas games, look, here's what we're going to ask you to do. We win this football game if you do A, B, and C, not
you have
X,
a-
Y, and Z, and all this other stuff.
What if you have a left hash, right hash?
You might. That I mean, look
Well, we were
into it.
questioning that during the game today. It's
On
like
the final kick.
on the final kick, it's like, why did we run this what looked like a speed option to the right side that was completely covered?
Short side.
Does
And the
Schmidt
short side.
and the short side, does Schmidt just went on the right hash?
Maybe.
So
And then he buried it.
and he buried it. So I don't know. It's
Maybe that's it.
I do think you need to be tactful with it, especially in a game like OU Texas going into that game where a field goal can win you the game.
I mean, I
every day of the week.
this will be my
So
41st OU Texas game, and I can tell you field goals were damn important in a lot of those games.
This game,
My very first one, Texas kicked a tying field goal. Don't get me started on that. But I mean, you look at RD Lasher, who said his dream was to kick the winning field goal. He comes out and I think he nailed it. In the age of instant replay, he nailed it, but they called it no good because everybody's corrupt in Texas.
this game played out exactly how I wanted it to play out for the Texas game.
it did.
We
Yes.
squeaked out a win.
Yes,
We didn't look good.
yes.
spread.
And Texas won big. They didn't cover the spread, but they won big.
Texas already has Twitter post up where post-game interviews, their players are overlooking us, which is fantastic.
They
But-
played Georgia the week after us.
They have Georgia after. And Texas is so arrogant, and their players are so arrogant. Us squeaking by allows them to look past us.
I hope so. I think you're
They
right.
absolutely will.
I think I don't have any doubt. I think it's going to be very tough for
Their
Turkey
players,
Texas.
their
to
players
keep
think
them
it's
engaged.
absolute cakewalk into it.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough through 2 weeks of practice to get them to take it serious.
And do the coaches take it serious? How much
Absolutely.
Georgia are they looking at ahead of time?
Even if they think they're not, they've got to be. That's got to be on their mind, right? Because that is. I mean, they're number one in the country. They'll be number one in the country. They'll be number one in the country after a bye week. I don't think they're going to lose that.
No.
And
Not
they've
after
got to
this
think
game.
they've got a chance to get through those two games, and they're a guaranteed team in the playoff no matter what they do. That's reasonable. They could definitely roll off 2 more losses in there.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
they got to be looking at the Georgia game thinking, oh, we can go
This
beat
is
these
cake.
guys.
Yeah, this is
So
cake.
they may spend next week on the bye week, they may spend 2 of those days on Georgia and then the other 3 days on us. And then game week, it's just us. But we're only looking at Georgia. I mean, at Texas.
Right.
So we got 2 full weeks, probably 10 days of just Texas scouting.
Right. Definitely, I think that it advantages OU in the practice. And I think, just like you're saying, Jay, it advantages OU in the psychological game.
Plus, that game's a coin toss, no matter how good
Yeah.
or bad either team
And
is.
that's all I was about to say. I know that we played a little bit of bend don't break today, and our defense was on their heels a couple times. I still put this defense up against most teams in the nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, we don't have the luxury of holding back on offense the way that we even maybe were holding back before everything's happened with Michael Hawkins replacing Jackson Arnold. I guarantee we are holding stuff back defensively.
Oh yeah.
Not just that we've got this package
showed it
we're not
today.
going to use, but we've got 2 weeks to implement packages, blitz packages, creative stuff that win the marquee game. I
we
mean,
showed stuff against Tulane
if you
that
can
we
beat
weren't
a
running
number
today.
one Texas,
Yeah.
you talk about a marquee win. That's incredible.
And you're back. You're completely
back in the conversation.
You're back in the conversation for a conference title game.
Absolutely, you are.
So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to talk about this and talk about it in the sense that, like we said in the midweek, the season is still in front of us. We're 4-1.
It's really in front of us now.
You go out and you have a good performance and you knock off a Texas team. You have
And
everything.
In our 4-1, I think we all would have thought it might have been different because we thought the Auburn game was in a bad spot, right?
Mhm.
Everyone talks about how hard it is to win at Auburn.
Well, like we
Right.
said, maybe we lost at the perfect time.
Like we thought maybe we win the Tennessee game at home, we lose our first road game at Auburn on the road. Either way, we're 4-1 heading to the bye.
They've lost 3 games at home this season.
It's not that bad though.
They lost
Right.
to Cal, Arkansas, and us. So it's not this fortress of solitude that they pretend it is.
No, but the other SEC coaches alluded to it preseason.
And it still has the respect.
Yeah.
It has a lot of respect. No one's going to look at that and
SEC,
think negative, like, oh, you only barely won that battle.
SEC road game wins are difficult.
Yeah.
Regardless of who they are.
And
Well,
they thought
at that stadium specifically, they're difficult.
Yes.
I mean,
Ask
like,
Alabama.
legitimately, ask Georgia.
Yeah.
Like Carson Beck comes out and says that stadium again. It's a college kid saying what's on his mind. Says the stadium's cursed.
Yeah.
Like that place it's not an easy place to win. Nowhere in the SEC is an easy place to win. And we go in on our first road trip in the SEC and handle it regardless of how we won the game.
With
we won
the
the
true
game.
freshman.
Yeah. With the true freshman. Defense steps up when they have to
Out
step
5
up.
receivers.
Out. Top 5 receivers are out. Kicker
Hey,
steps up and kicks
You know
field
what?
goals.
I'll give a little bit of props because I didn't think they would bring this up. Game day and the crew for the game today mentioned several times that
depleted we
our
were.
offensive line was shuffled and we're out our top 5 receivers.
So Jay, you'll know. Did Troy Everett did not get in the game today,
He
right?
did not. I mean, I don't recall.
Inexplicable.
Well,
I think it was
maybe
doing
what
well
working.
enough.
Yeah, it was working with what we
Yeah.
had, and they didn't want to chance the chemistry change.
Jake Taylor looked good. No,
So let's go through the coaches on offense a little bit and let's take the temperature.
Fire him.
I am
I concur.
most on the hot seat for me will be Joe John Finley and Bill Beatonbow.
Yes.
And then after that, Seth Luttrell
Hmm.
is a close third. And then down from there. Am I wrong in that evaluation?
Well,
Either side of it.
Emmett Jones isn't even in the equation,
Right. No.
because you can't judge.
Emmett Jones could go get a job at Alabama. If he
But,
wanted to.
but you can't judge. He has 5 NFL wide receivers now.
No, none of this is on Emmett Jones.
Yeah, so he's just not even in the
DeMarco
discussion.
Murray.
The question is, what is Joe John Finley doing?
Right.
No way.
What is he doing?
No way. knows.
He's not coaching blocking, that's for sure.
I
doesn't seem
truly
like
had no answer to what the guy is doing. And if we keep him around just to get tight end recruits, it makes no sense because none of those guys are panning out.
No, there's no reason to do that.
There's no reason to do it.
Unless
Nobody
Mitchell
holds on
becomes
to
a
any
superstar.
coach for a tight end recruit. I'm sorry, tight ends.
But what are we
out
doing
there
with it?
in America.
No,
Go to
there's-
Mississippi
There's a
State.
reason in a fantasy draft they're going to be taken way late.
Was Latrell
it's
at
not that
Arizona when they
important.
got Gronk?
Gronk was there. I don't know if he recruited
Yeah, I
him
was
or
gonna say, I
anything.
wonder if he recruited.
Can he
him or not.
recruit? Did he still have eligibility? Is he a possibility? Because
No.
we could use the help. So I don't know. That'll be something that we'll cover in the coming weeks.
Do DeMarco and Bill Beatonbow fall in the same boat?
No, Beatonbow is more. I question
Responsible?
him more than DeMarco
I would
at this
agree.
point.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. In fact, if I'm DeMarco, I'm mad at Bill because I need blocking for my running back.
I have no lanes.
I have no lanes. And now it
you
also
And I
could
can
come
only
back to
play one running back.
it could come back to the quarterback. I don't know.
It's just so tough. Do you find it weird that Hicks hasn't even sniffed
touched the
a
field.
carry.
Hasn't touched the field. He has not touched the field at all.
Like at some point, you have
Since
to see
Temple?
if somebody has it.
Did he get in at Temple? I don't think he got in.
No, I don't think he's been on the field.
We put Sam Franklin in before him.
I think
Yes.
Hicks played. Did he not play at all?
I don't,
don't
think,
think he
he's
touched
played
the
a
ball.
single
Wow.
snap.
I don't think
this
he's touched the ball.
I don't understand that.
Well, he was one that DeMarco fought with last year, right?
No, that was Tawee.
Oh, sorry, Walker. That's right.
Yeah.
season, which would be nice to have this year.
Yeah, but you didn't know that going in. I mean, and we got Tatum. Tatum is, we talked at the very top.
He
Tatum
should be
probably
he
is
should be
back for
for
Texas.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
Knock on wood. I mean, I
Yeah.
really hope he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, Javante getting all the carries today is very telling. Like Sawchuck,
Outside the Sawchuck run that got
the
called
one
back.
Sawchuck run that gets
Yeah.
called back. Sawchuck
He
is
was in
it.
a couple times on third
He's
down
in the
play
dog
for
house,
pass
though.
defense.
I mean, it's just I would love to see a dual back set.
We did try more outside runs today.
We got to see the pistol.
Not enough.
Not
Why
enough,
aren't we
yeah,
running the
exactly,
pistol?
not enough.
What's going on with that? Are we saving that?
Seems
Is it,
like it was working.
it was working. So I'd like to see more pistol formation. I think that
I think that works better for Barnes being a
Works.
downhill runner.
I think it works to everyone's strength, to tell you the truth. I mean, Barnes, you're already you're in motion and you're running with speed, you're running with some momentum towards where you want to be. I think that's helpful. I think that it helps in terms of Hawkins being able to see the field and put linebackers in a position where they can't commit. I don't know. To me, that is a formation that has a lot of promise for what we have. Maybe it's easy to see in hindsight, but it's funny, it works, and we don't see a lot of it.
Go back. I mean, everyone's saying it, but go back to 2009.
Yeah.
You're running a depleted offense with a fresh quarterback. Go back to something simple that just gives you options,
Right.
and not complicated options,
Right.
just levels of options.
And I like levels of options too, which we didn't really see a lot today, and I want to see more in the future, is Hawkins on a rollout with a run pass option
To the right.
to the
To
right
the
side.
not to the left.
We ran rollouts. Now, maybe, we'll have to look at it closer, but maybe Auburn was forcing left rollouts, right? Because
Maybe.
you don't know how they were playing it.
Right.
But anybody knows you got a right-handed quarterback that rolls out to the left. That's a significantly harder throw for a right-handed
It's
quarterback.
not even a question. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap this up and let's talk about something real quick. We were elated when we won this game today. It was awesome. I love the feeling.
It's one
I
of the
love,
best feelings I've
I
had in a
love
long
it.
time.
It's got
Since Texas last year.
it definitely has essence of Sooner magic when you look at the interception return for a touchdown. It obviously harkens back to Terrence Marshall, another number 10 who saved the season. And we're in a different position than we were then, but we're still saving the season by getting victories like this today. I'm going to have a poll on X this week, and it's going to ask, where are we? And the answer is going to be very different because we won versus if we lost. Because if we lost, one of the choices is going to be we're in a rebuilding year, and that's what it felt like. We're still in the hunt. We're definitely still in the hunt. Yeah.
There's something that we all brought up before the pod.
Can
What
we
if-
talk about that? Oh wait.
Yes. What if this is this team's Tennessee moment?
I like it.
You have
Then I'll take it. That's
you have
2015 Tennessee.
no. Yes. I see your mind games. No.
Clear.
You've got Baker Mayfield, an unknown quarterback to a degree,
right.
right? You have a new offensive play caller.
Right.
And three of us were at the Tennessee game. And come fourth quarter, what was 17-3, right?
Yep.
There was no chance to win that game.
Mm-mm.
None. None at all.
In a hostile environment.
Yes. And it all just came together and it propelled not only a season, but the next few seasons.
Oh, a dynasty in terms of what we did in the conference and what we did in general. I mean, 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 2 first-round draft, 2 number 1 draft picks. Just the most revolutionary offense in the history of football. And I'm not saying that's obviously what's going to happen.
Every person in the stadium for that Tennessee game was ready to see Trevor Knight come back in. Now, today we were not ready to see Jackson Arnold come back in. But the point is still the same. We're on the road in a hostile environment in the SEC. The offense looks like crap. The quarterback looks like crap. and we somehow find a way to win that game, and it propels everything forward.
It was our hope. My suggestion was that it could be a get right game. I don't know how you don't describe this as the most get right game you could have for where we are and what we face. Now, that positions us to now go prove it, get to the next level. We're still just like we did in 2015. We had to get to the next level. We had to get our offense where it needed to be. The defense never really got there, sadly. We became a playoff team that year.
Which is a huge difference for this year.
Right.
If we can get this offense to a top 50, which is, it sounds so terrible to say, a top 50 offense in the country, this defense is going to keep us in every single game we play.
I think you're right. And they did today, even with imperfect play. They
Yeah.
did.
People look at yardage all the time. I don't care about yardage.
I care
What
about
are the points? What are the points?
And points or yardage is very conditional too. And if your offense is doing better, there's almost a ceiling on, just like there is in points. You could do an over under on yards when you look at the combination of the two teams, and you know it's going to be split between the two teams somehow. And every yard they get is a yard you're not going to get. So we want to get back to where we're outgaining opponents for sure. We want, and to get to top 50, we're going to need to do that. But if we can do that,
I mean, even after today, we're not going to be ranked in the top 115 in total off,
I mean, I want
which is absurd.
yeah, I want to believe it, and like I want to think that that's the case of this, propulsion forwards. I just the difference between Lincoln Riley and Seth Luttrell is night and day difference. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but to expect, and I know we don't expect it, but to think that it's going to be anywhere remotely close. Baker Mayfield's a generational quarterback. Lincoln Riley's a generational type of offensive coordinator. I do think you can build some momentum off of this, but just with where you're headed with the type of games you're going to be playing, it's going to take a lot more. And that's why I'm excited about the defense. Like, it's going to take a lot more from the defense to hold the line, to basically lean on that while the offense continues to hopefully get better. I think Seth Luttrell can be the guy. I do. And I think Michael Hawkins could be the guy. But I think the margin is a lot bigger than what we've. I mean, Baker Mayfield was a Big 12 freshman of the year when he left Texas Tech. So
No, I don't think so.
I think he was.
I don't think he was.
He only played like 3 games at Tech.
He played like 6.
Well, I'm pretty sure he played like 6.
I don't think he
I'll
was.
look it up. Regardless, a lot more expensive, a lot more experience.
He was playing good enough that the fact they wouldn't give him a scholarship was utterly absurd.
Okay.
So I think the way that we have to look at it is that we're in a position to get better. We're in a position to get a lot better. And this is the moment you have to seize as a team, as a coaching staff, to get there and actually achieve what every Sooner expects, and that's excellence. Do you find something, Connor?
Baker Mayfield won freshman offensive player of the year in 2013.
No? Good job. Good job.
Good recall.
So to me, it is a moment that we look for in terms of, you want it something. We expected it was going to be sort of the first 3 games we're establishing ourselves as that kind of a team. It wasn't. That didn't happen. But now, all of a sudden, after a very tumultuous loss at home to Tennessee, you have an opportunity to turn things around and build upon them. And so that's where the Monster's going to demand a lot of victory and a lot of progress out of Seth Luttrell and the entire offense.
Well, it's like you continue to go week by week, and you have this blank slate.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
And it
every
is a
week.
blank slate.
And now I think this week you finally kind of have something to build off of. Where
Right.
It's like, I've kind of started painting the picture that I want to paint.
Yep.
What can I do in 2 weeks going into Texas to build off of that, as opposed to wiping the slate clean? Because we showed some progress in the second half today.
Right.
We showed some progress in the second half against Tennessee. what can we do to kind of continue that and expand it so that we can be competitive week in and week out and not have these dips?
Well, and credit to
productivity.
DJ Durkin. Their game plan minus the initial early run from Hawkins, they spied the heck out of us. They came into this game saying, we're not going to let this
They
kid
took advantage of
run the football on
it
us.
for sure.
But we have to be able to adjust to that.
And I think to Lucas's point, we did. In the second half, we made the
Well, the
adjustment.
pop pass to
that were
Bauer Sharp
necessary.
around the sideline,
Yeah.
or down
Yeah.
the sideline, was a perfect example of that's a play that I
Yes,
thought
we
we were
get him
going
out
to
to
take
the
off
right,
and run.
right? As we all said, to the
Rolling out to the
right.
right, and then faking the run, acting like you're going to run the ball, and then popping it over to Bauer Sharp was perfect. It was incredibly.
The problem
rare.
with rolling him out to the right is Jake Taylor can't seem to block very well, and that's your right tackle.
Jake Taylor may be a little special for sure.
So if you don't have confidence that your right tackle is going to block their defensive end, then it's not going to do a lot of good to roll your quarterback out to the right because there's going to be somebody coming running right at his face. So
Well,
that's got to get better.
I think that a lot of things have to get better. But we said that obviously in the post game against Tennessee. We said it in the midweek. And for better or for worse, things got better. And we won this game.
We
And
scored more points than last week.
we did.
Still less than 300 yards of offense, which is sad.
But like
Against a team that doesn't have a great
like
defense.
Jay said, I don't care about the yards. I care about the points.
I
I
agree.
care about the victories. So Sooners win today. We got a bye week. We're going to head into a game against Texas, and we're going to be covering a lot of stuff in this bye week. We're going to be talking.
Are we
about-
all going to be at Texas?
I'm going to be at Texas.
I'll be there. Josh and Angie will be there. Lucas will be there.
Jay,
Jay?
you're making it too. We're going
I'll
to do
be
it.
at home.
Jay's going to make it.
Jay's going to make it. We're all going to be there. We're going to root the Sooners on to victory.
We're gonna have some pregame little Debbies.
We're going to, but we're going to celebrate tonight, and tonight's the victory. So guys, Star Crunch is all around on me. Yeah, that's right.
Let's go.
Diabetes be damned.
We're going to celebrate, and we're going to be here with the post game or the midweek leading up to what is not just the biggest game always for OU in a season, OU Texas. Again, another very pivotal game. We get from a game we need to win, and we do against Auburn, to a game, wow, if you can win this game, you put yourself back on the map, back in the conversation. I'm excited about it. I know you guys are excited about it. Until then, Boomer.
See you.